Hello and welcome to Audionautic Deep Space Network episode 45. This is our weekly music production, technology, and marketing podcast. Today we're talking all about retro sound design using iOS apps, plugins, and hardware. If you're joining us live, let us know what you've been up to and working on this week in the chat. And if you'd like to help the channel, hit that like button. My name is Sunwarper, and with me today is Eon Lake. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, man.
Yeah,
I'm
what you
good.
been up to?
I've been making an absolute mess of my studio.
All right, that's
Isn't
the
that
artist way.
That's the only way to say a
I'm
producer.
an artist, so yeah, that means I'm messy or something. Yeah, I'm working on live stuff, as you know, and I'm pulling bits out of the studio to stick over there in my flight case, which is the live stuff. And I'm just, it's a little bit kid in a playground. I go, ooh, what about this? Because essentially it's like, what can I run through an SB404 and stick effects, start putting stutter effects and grain and compression and stuff on.
Did you get the update?
I was actually already on the version that had those. I forgot
okay.
they added those three effects because they stick them at the end on a third
Yeah,
page.
you got to hit MFX and Isolator to get it.
Yeah. Or you can, scroll through them all. But yeah, they definitely sound better because the reverb's a bit wanting, really, isn't it, on that?
How'd you like that cloud delay, though?
It's really good.
Dude, it's
really
awesome,
good.
yeah.
But I just find myself, I'm really after a Strymon Night Sky at the moment.
Ooh,
I think
yeah.
really,
I don't blame you. Those are sick.
That'll really round things off for me, I think. But
what's another purchase after you said you're going to focus on everything you already own this year?
Yeah, but it's just reverb, isn't it, right?
Well, it's like $400, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if just reverb counts.
I've always had this thing about reverb. Even like back in the day when I was working in the studio and we had all the AMS, those lovely AMS reverbs that everyone goes crazy for. I didn't like the sound a lot of the kit was putting out. When I could hear the grains and the reflections, it didn't sound natural. Turns out I'm really, really, really fussy about reverbs. And yeah, it's my destiny, basically. And you're not getting in the way of that.
It's like one reverb to rule them all.
Well, yeah, I just think, shimmer and things like that, the slight modulation of the reverb, because you hear it in Valhalla. A drink if you're at home playing the game. There's your first shot. But it's those things that I think set it apart. So, yeah.
I got you. All right. Well, that sounds cool. You'll have to keep us updated. I know you shared some photos of the setup over on the Discord. So
yeah, that's some fun jams. I'm going to have to start actually recording them and putting them on the YouTube channel for fun.
Ooh, yeah, definitely.
That's what we need to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's move over to our Audionautic co-pilot, Curtis. How have you been?
That's me. Hello. You're right. How you doing? I'm good.
Is it you? I don't know anymore because you say that every time. I'm starting to get a little worried.
Neither do I. I'm starting to wonder who I am these days. So it's kind of the way that goes. But yeah, it's good. For anyone wondering, Eon Lake and Sunwarper had a very in-depth discussion on our Discord a couple of days ago, which is a great place to be. But yeah, it seems like you two have been getting on well with your SP404, which is a nice thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah. So what have you been getting on well with? What are you up to?
Yeah.
I'm sticking with January, so I've been doing that. More of that. That's been good fun. It's been a whole load of kind of like setting up, batching, and then setting down again, striking. Good fun, editing. And I'm planning to start live streaming in February once it's January, by the way. So I've been making videos and kind of making little kind of like just like teasers, like we got an incoming transmission, that kind of thing. I've been making little kind of talk about it, that kind of thing. So I've spent a lot of time on Internet Archive, which if anyone is on the Internet Archive knows that their server space is not the quickest in the world.
No.
So you click on something.
Dial-up.
Exactly. Yeah. It's fucking broadband.
It's kind of fitting though for what it is, though.
Yeah. So you're getting like I'm getting like vintage video from like 1964 and stuff like that, and you're watching it like buffer through, and it's like, yeah, all right. It's a bit meta. I can get on board with that,
It just gets you in the mood for the archival footage, You're like, okay, this makes sense now. Yeah.
Very much so. Yeah, very much so. So yeah, Thomas is in chat. Thomas Haur, good to see you all. He's in the studio, which is nice. Getting on board. Brand new patron of ours, so thank you very much for that. we also have lots of nice people in there.
Yeah, and Justin says the Internet Archive is classic. Literally, yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. So lots of retro stuff coming. Sunwarper, what about you, man? What you been doing?
Well, as I mentioned to you guys, you can't see it. Oh well, it's built, but it's in the garage. So I was saying it's kind of like the Schrodinger's synth stand right now, because I can tell you it's built, but you won't believe me because it's not there. But trust me, it's there, and you'll see it soon. I just have to carry it from the garage all the way around the house into the shed, the studio shed. But it will be there soon. But yeah, that's built. What else have I been up to? Finishing up some of those soundtrack things, which has been cool, because the last one I did was like a very neoclassical. Got to use a lot of synth drones and then add some cello and stuff like that. And I loved the mini lab for the articulation on the cello, like using that one little modular thing to change and really cause the act like you're playing the cello. It was really cool. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Some SP stuff, which is always good. Some iOS things, which we'll talk about shortly. It's been a creative week.
Good. That's what we want to see. Like you said, we've got a bit of a retro week this week. We got some synths, soft synths coming up, which we're talking about, and then a very classic argument, Door Wars in round robin. We're putting a bit of a different spin on it though.
Later on, we'll be telling you which door is best and why.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll get fiery, I think. And I'm curious to hear from the chat. What have you all been up to this week? You get any new gear or new plugins, anything like that? Let us know.
Very much
retro?
so.
You doing anything retro?
Yeah, anything retro. It doesn't matter the bit. We're going to cover every bit, I think, this week. So we'll go from 8 to 12, 16. We got it.
Yeah,
it's almost like
it's you running.
Exactly. It's almost like we planned the show ahead of time.
Yeah, about 2 hours beforehand, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. We definitely prepare this week. It's fine. It's all good. We have also, as well as people, we got Bendu, we got Shady, Hydra Fighter, Thomas. These guys are also our patrons, who are very much the lovely people who pledge each month to give us a little bit of money to make us do more and allow us the space to do this. And we love you. So thank you very much for doing this. If you enjoy what you do and you want to see more of it, consider going to patreon.com/audionautic, making a pledge. It starts from $2 a month. You get early access to our other shows, Binary Stars and Extended Orbit, as well as you get a community group on Twitter. We have our own kind of like little messaging group, as well as that on the Discord as well, where we do a Starstream hangout. At the moment, once a month, where we sit and we have a chat, we nerd out. I think
that's Sunday when we were talking about the delays on the SP.
Very much so.
Ian Lake and I, and Ian Lake, I thought he wasn't updated yet to 2.0, and apparently he did. He just forgot.
Turns out I've been there for months.
Isn't that the path? Isn't that the way that it goes forward? That is enlightenment. You don't realize that you're enlightenment until you actually got there in its own way. It kind of works.
Loving awareness, right?
Exactly. Loving awareness. We are all here right now.
Looking forward to the surprise then.
I can't wait for you guys. I can't wait for you to walk each other home. It's gonna be great.
No, we're all walking each other home.
So yeah, if you vibe what we're doing and you're here tonight and you're enjoying it, or this morning, bit wherever you be, consider giving us a pledge because we really appreciate it. And yeah, very much so. There's that in the Discord, which is always nice.
Yeah, and the Discord is in the description. Anyone's free to join and hang out. We do voice hangouts after our scheduling meets on Mondays around 10:40 a.m. Pacific, which I'm too tired to think what those conversions are today. I didn't sleep last night, but Curtis can figure that one out for us. Mr. Worldwide over here.
It's about 6:30 UTC or 7:30 CET for those in Central Europe. We just hop on after our weekly wheat, our weekly meet.
That's almost as good as Deeps in the Deeps from last week.
I'm just glad J Bell's not here this week. It's good.
We should probably mention the playlist has just recently been updated.
Yeah, that's true. The Audionautic Radio playlist got a massive start of the new year update. If you want to check out the latest in independent and chilled electronic music, it's also in the description. We'd love to have you there, and you're welcome to submit either on my socials, Sunwarper, or the Audionautic Twitter.
Very much so.
Some good new tunes on there.
But let's talk about some of this retro stuff.
Yeah, let's get retro.
Let's get to it. Do we need a filter for this? Should we have a filter?
Well, my video is going to have the VHS filter. Don't worry for the audio kit. I got it covered.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you're on the ball. So yeah, we're going to start with the Pico synth, I think, just because I picked this up early in the week.
When you say picked it up,
Yeah.
like bought it or?
No.
No, I haven't bought it. I haven't bought it yet, but that's only because I'm waiting for a paycheck from work.
All right,
But
all
the I saw it on Synthtopia, and it is a wonderful little thing. 8-bit. If you're ever into your 8-bit or your chiptune, and you want to make a little bit of video game music or classic video game music, this seems like a really, really interesting synth to do. It's a soft synth, and according its pricing availability, it's $5 or more. So because it's a boutique, you can pay a little bit more if you want to, but you don't have to. It can be as little as $5. Which actually, once going onto the website, is actually $2.49 if you wanted to buy it in its own right. And it is a synth for your classic kind of chiptune sound. Take a listen to this. Oh. I'll stop it there for now. But you can kind of see where I'm coming from. I don't know about you guys. I'm always a fan of making chiptune, and this is a great way to do it.
That's awesome.
It is, isn't it?
Anybody in the chat, you guys make chiptune or have you tried it? You looking at getting some chiptuney sounds?
We'd like to know what you're up to. I mean, what, for $2.49? If you go, okay, that on its own, you've got those little 8-bit sounds, you've got those going through. But then imagine sampling that, or imagine putting that into a sound design technique or anything like that. Putting a massive effects chain behind it, putting some.
Or Valhalla.
Or Valhalla. There we go. Even putting Valhalla behind that, like something that is so. Especially recently, we've been talking a lot about more commission work and stuff like that, and that kind of that classic sound, very identifiable straight off the bat. That kind of. You know what you're getting with that, and I think that's just a lovely little way to make it through.
Yeah, it looks cool. Sounds good.
Very much so. So yeah, that is the Pico synth, and like I say, it's you can do live tuning on it as well. So what you can do is you can actually route it to like a MIDI keyboard or something like that. So you have anything that's in the soft synth, you can rinse it through, and then the sky's the limit in that sense. So it's a really nice little sound box, so to speak. And export it to WAV. So, again, we were talking about last week, this idea of having stuff on a iOS or having stuff on a pad or something like that, which you then can't find. It's not easy to get it back onto the computer to play with it. With this as well, you can just shift it straight out, and there you go.
That's awesome. Yeah,
that's exactly what you need. So yeah, that is the 8-bit. That is the 8-bit.
Oh wait, Ian, do you have any thoughts on that?
I was just thinking, is it a VST?
It is, yes. It's a complete VST. Retroplastic Patchwork Virtual Studio. So
for some reason, the first thing I want to do with stuff like that is see if I can get a MIDI file of something, some heavy-duty classical like Shostakovich.
Chiptune version. You could write millions on the YouTube ads with that. Chiptune version of this. Chiptune version of that.
Just put the words in cover, and you got yourself, a million views. That would be fun, though, wouldn't it? Like put Flight of the Bumblebee or something in that. Watch that fucker go. Very much so. Have you guys ever made anything like kind of chiptuney vibes, that kind of thing?
No, I've tried reducing bit depth on stuff down to that kind of level, but for some reason it sounded like I'd taken a sound and reduced the bit depth on it. It didn't sound chiptuney or like, Nintendo like.
I get that.
So for some reason it didn't work. I wasn't quite sure why.
Sunwarper?
No, never.
I think it's because it fundamentally goes against my maximalist tendencies.
Yeah, that's my issue. I'm always like, wait, it needs more drums. It needs more synths.
Yeah. maybe if I get loads of them, like an orchestra of chiptune bit things all at once.
Yeah, Marine's friend in the chat says a stroll through Viridian Forest right there. Yep, definitely.
Very much so. Very much so. It's the way forward. It takes me back. I was making some music with some guy I knew back in Vietnam on Reaper, and we just literally had his Game Boy, and we had we had its Game Boy and a cartridge, and we were just pushing buttons and then making it up through Reaper, and it was just an absolutely magical experience.
That's awesome. I saw some people making lo-fi on a PSP app, or like,
Ooh.
I don't know if it's a like they what's it called, jailbreak or whatever, the PSP, or if it's actually something, but it looked cool.
It's the way to go forward. Again, we're always looking at alternative ways to like break the mold and get out and making music. Yeah, let us know. Is there any? Have you ever made it on a games console? That's what I really want to know. Yeah, I really want to know.
Core Gadget counts on the Switch. I'm saying that counts. If you
it does.
Yeah, I mean, the Switch is a video game. It's a console, so yeah,
exactly.
It absolutely works entirely. But yeah, let's keep on going. So that's the 8-bit. That's the 8-bit on that one. Hang on, let me bring up the docket so we can see. What have you got in store for our 16-bit Sunwarper?
Well, this is talking about making things on consoles. This synth, it's from Audiokit Pro. It's called SAGA synth, and you can probably assume where the name SAGA is, what it's derived from. SAGA. It's supposed to be like a 16-bit console, 16-bit console emulator of like the sounds from it. It's based on samples taken from 5 different vintage hardware YM2616 sound chips, along with samples from the first edition Mega FM hardware synthesizer. I'm going to read a little bit about it, but basically and then I'll show you some sounds I made on it. It's like these incredible retro sounds. It sounds just like those video games if you played them in like the 90s, I've gotten some synths from this company before, Audiokit, on iOS, and a lot of them are free. I don't know if they still are, but like they have this really cool distorted 808. They have a cool piano. They also have the Synth 1, and I think that one's paid. But they're really cool, easy to use, very intuitive. So it's a standalone app, an iOS AUV3 plugin, over 300 presets to inspire you, they say. Free running step sequencer, exclusive sound sources made for the app. 16-bit synth, drum, and sound effects are included. And for right now, it's only $2.99, and then later it's going to be $14.99. So thanks to our patrons, I grabbed this, and I have a few sound demos. Do you guys want to check it out?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, chuck your sample library in the bin.
Yeah, all you need is the 16-bit SAGA synth. Yeah. All right, let's check it out.
They keep getting better and better, don't they? They keep getting better and better. Like I say, for full disclosure, I didn't see that video before Sunwarper put it up there. He literally came to me this afternoon and said, "I've got this." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." And the idea again, we said it a couple of times the past couple of weeks. The idea of just an inspiration box just sitting there in iOS or on Android just for your thing, like the balance of power when it comes to like soft synths for the PC or the Mac, and because some people use Mac, and then the idea of having them on an iPad, it's just a pure box of inspiration right there. That sounds really nice. That sounds really, really bloody lush. And I mean, if anyone has ever been to Lavender Town, that is exactly what you need. Yeah,
yeah, and that was just 3, because I just got it this morning. It's still it's still morning here.
It's 11 o'clock for you, isn't it?
Yeah, so I just got it this morning and just screen recorded my phone playing a couple of those. So I'm not the best at playing keys on a tiny little iPhone. So if I could have grabbed it on my iPad or sent MIDI into it, I would have done more. But that's 3 presets that I just tweaked a little bit. I can tell you the presets if anyone's curious. I can take a look. But the last sound, that sequenced one, was actually just the default when you open the app, and I just added some effects, and I got to tell you, those effects sound awesome. I don't know if you can, but I'd love if you could send external audio through it, kind of like the Korg NTS1 or something. Yeah, and that little circuit setting gives you all that bit crushy. You can like really crush the sound and everything. It's really cool for sound design. I'm looking forward to diving deeper into it. And if you get it now at this introduction price, $299, it also comes with all of the presets that are available. I guess once you if you buy it later, it's not like some other people besides Audiokit made some plugins, and I think those are an additional cost or something like that. Ian, what do you think about this synth?
Actually, it sounded a little bit better than I was expecting, actually.
A little bit better. What were you expecting?
I don't know. I was just expecting closer to 8-bit, I suppose. Anything with bit in it usually.
You're getting confused with the bits, bro. Come on, keep with the times. But, we're 16.
Wow. I was thinking, wow, this is high fidelity stuff. But I love the chip flanger and what was it?
There's the chip phaser, chip flanger, and I can't remember if it's chip delay or just stereo delay.
Yeah. So I mean, like you, I want to know if that's something you can run something else through.
Yeah. Even that bit crushing setting, and then the reverb isn't with the other effects. It's actually on the main, like where the filter and stuff is, the main segment.
Looks like fun though. It certainly sounds nostalgic. That's for sure.
Very much so.
Yeah.
I'd be curious. Like, as you know, I have a theory that is very much bounded in truth that trap is going to unify the human race, and I would love to see some trap fused with chiptune using.
I bet it hasn't already. I don't know.
I'm sure there's some chip trap or something.
I'm sure chip trap. That's what you need. If anyone wants to make any chip trap, and then they want to submit it to Audionautic Records, I will. They can have it all. I just want to see it happen.
Chip trap.
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah. So you've had some fun with that, Sunwarper.
Yeah, for like 20 minutes.
There you go. There you go.
I mean, why do fidget cubes exist when you've got things like that in the world?
That's what I'm saying.
I know. That's what you need.
Make some chip trap instead.
Exactly. Yeah, chip trap. That's all you need.
So yeah, we'd like to know what you guys would think. I might get. I don't even have an iPad or anything like that, but I'm for the introductory price. I mean,
well, it says standalone plugin or iOS, so it may also be a plugin or standalone. Oh no, maybe not standalone app and iOS plugin.
There you go. Yeah.
So I don't know, but it might work on that Mac you have, the M1 chip. I think there's some crossover now between the new M1 and M2 chips and iOS. Anybody in the chat, if you know, you can correct me or verify that, because I'm not sure. I don't have any M1 stuff at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, anyone at any point in the chat, feel free to tell us how we know nothing. Because we know nothing. It's the way forward. So yeah. So that is the Saga synth. Do you want a combo break and go for the sample science, or do you want to go for the Liven 12 first?
Well, they're all retro. There's no combo break here, so I guess one's hardware, one's plugin. So let's ask Eon, like, hardware or plugin? What do you want to do next?
Hardware.
Hardware. Ooh.
Of course. But
Yeah,
Man of
it's
my
out.
own.
It's, you know,
So this is, I'm bringing this up. This is the Sonicware Live Lofi 12. if I'm
Liven.
not correct. Liven, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll let
They have
you
a
do it.
few. They have a series of these, I guess. But this Lofi12 is their low fidelity sampler. So it's like very reminiscent of those early MPCs and things like that, where it has that 12-bit. We went down a bit, or a couple bits actually. We're not at 16. We're at 12. But a 12-bit resolution for those really like gritty sampled vibes. And what I thought was really cool is the price. It's $239.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah, I think
do
it's
you want
only 4 tracks at the same time though, so it's like a limited polyphony. But
It's a
you're working with
4-track.
samples, so it's not that big a deal. You could always
alright.
sample things.
it really
together.
is going back in time, isn't it?
Well, I think that's like the point. Curtis, you want to play the video we got?
Yeah, I'll bring it up. It looks very nice. For starters, and I got it powered on a DC 9-volt, which is really interesting. But yeah, this is what it sounds like. He's talented.
Turns everything into lo-fi. But like, listen to that snare. That's probably the best. Just hear that grit.
Yeah, it's really good.
4-second sample time.
They really know their marketing, don't they? They've really got me lo-fi girl.
Yep. Drunk beats.
Laid back knob. Basically me all over.
Living, that's the topic. Living, that's the topic. Living, that's the topic.
There you go.
For anyone familiar with the SP line, it really reminds me of the 202. That super lo-fi, gritty sound. I mean, for $249, it's not bad, even just as like a sound design tool, you know?
Is it something okay, so you spent $249 on it.
$239, I'm sorry.
$239, sorry.
Yeah.
So you spend $239 on it, or you go over to Plugin Boutique and get the RC40, the RC50, the plugins there for €50.
I think it depends whether you want hardware or plugin. I mean, I have things that can do that in the 404, but I'd still kind of want that one. I mean, I'm not going to buy it right now, but it has its own merits as a standalone box. And it's not relying on a computer or something like that.
It's fair. So they're going along with the whole doorless kind of like you can make lo-fi on the fly.
Did you think of that one on the fly?
That's how bad it was, yeah. So
That was an 8-bit joke.
So yeah, I mean it's a nice little thing. I mean, if I had $249, it'd sit around and be quite nice about it. It's another sampler. You can never go wrong with sampling.
I'm not convinced.
You're not convinced?
huh?
Yeah.
In
Tell
what
us
way?
I like
No,
the
that's
form
fine.
factor. I like the little tiny groove box thing. Big thumbs up. But I just think, if your resolution is that cack, surely you should be able to fit about 6 weeks of sampling in it. Bear it in mind, if you look at modern samplers now, when they've got micro SD, you've got 256 gig on there. What the hell,
Yeah. It could be the price, or it could be really trying to be like those old samplers that had such short times.
To be fair, it's expensive to do these days. You can get old Akai's that have had the floppy disks, changed, for something for USB so that you can use thumb drives and stuff like that. But they're really expensive still. I don't know. I think for me, fucking stuff up and making it lo-fi is part of the fun.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying about having a box where you can just do that, but I've got an SP404. I can already do that. It's not a thing for me. And also, I don't like just a one type of lo-fi, i.e. like a shit bit rate where you've got that everything sounds gritty and powdery.
Vinyl on the master.
Yeah, well, there's no wow, flutter, or degradation of sound. It's just like one thing, which
it's a one-trick pony.
That sounds really cool. but I think, if you're using it seriously, you'd probably want to have a few more different ways of making it sound interesting.
Yeah.
And if you're a guitarist and you've got pedals and stuff like that, you can put samples through.
Okay. So Eon Lake's not convinced. Sunwarper?
Yeah.
I really like it. Like, I think for what it does and that price, it's awesome. I'm with Eon Lake, though. It's very, very limited in what it does. And I'm not sure if that 4-second sample time is just, like, in general. I don't think so. I think it's, like, each channel you're doing. And I could be wrong. But I think it is, like, each channel, not all together. Because there's some that have, like, drums and then melodies and things like that. So I'm not sure. If anybody in the chat knows or wants us to find out, we can get back in the next episode or in a clip episode we do. I think it's cool for sound design. And I mean, it's the price of a pedal, if not cheaper than a Strymon. So if you're looking for that sound and want that sort of ability to go anywhere with it, you could send your iPhone into it and record stuff anywhere. I think it has its merits and I think it has its flaws and drawbacks.
Sure.
I've still got the page up on here, and one of the comments from a guy called MD on the YouTube page.
He says, doctor, so you got to listen.
Of course, yeah, exactly. Yeah. He just says, finally a real OP1 killer because of the price. Now, that's interesting. Like the idea.
If you want to make that comparison, it's a fucking steal.
Especially compared to the new OP1, right?
Like nearly $2,000.
Yeah.
But in that vein, I mean, I don't have a hardware sampler, and you two do. So I'm thinking this is what I'm thinking. It's okay. He's saying it's an OP1 killer because of what it can do. But then for that price, maybe
That's actual horse shit, though.
Yeah, because OP1 could do synths and stuff like that, can't it?
Exactly. Yeah,
it's a lot more
This
versatile.
is literally just a sampler, but it is only under $250. So.
But if that's how you use your OP1, then it really is an OP1 killer.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. It's interesting. Again, I suppose it breeds along that idea again, like anything with a vinyl crackle and sounds a bit gritty can these days be called lo-fi because it's such a broad concept.
Well, yeah.
Well, low fidelity is what, the whole, like even Boards of Canada or something, you could say that they use those old samplers that have that low fidelity like this would, so...
I'm of the opinion that certain types of low fidelity sound better than others, though. I mean, I think magnetic tape and screwed up, magnetic tape equipment sounds better than bad digital sampling equipment, personally.
Yeah. Makes sense.
It's a smoother sort of screwed up sort of sound.
Look at that. Yeah. A smoother screwed up sound. Sounds like, well, basically my existence. But yeah, we can make them work. So yeah.
It's a screwed up sound.
Oh yeah, there we go. That works. So yeah, all right. So that's that one. We'd like to know what you guys. I'm a little bit shorter because the cushion underneath my chair has come off. So yeah. I
was gonna say you just shrunk.
I know. Just so bamboozled by that loafer. I've been reduced.
Yeah, you were a bit reduced.
But yeah, we'd like to know what you guys in the chat or watching back in these clips that we make think about this kind of thing. Is it something that you'd be vibing with? Like the idea of a hardware lo-fi box that you can just put anything in, get instant lo-fi? We'd like to know what you think. So yeah, let us know, because with enough people, maybe we can convince Eon Lake to spend money on it. You never know.
Yeah. Is it too niche?
Is it too niche? Too niche? Is it too niche? It's weird. Yeah. Okay, last little bit of the news before we go into the round robin and the marketing. Someone pulled this up at the very last minute, showing just how brand new in from Sample Science. What is this?
Well, you turned me on to Sample Science with those drums a week or two ago, which I've been using, and they're awesome. And I so now I get their emails, and I was like, ooh, me, anything low fidelity catches my eye, especially if there's a certain geographical connection. Like this one is Canadian Highway, and it is sampled sounds and loop pack. It's like a loop pack. There's samples, breaks, public domain dialogues, FX, one shots, 17 vinyl crackles. It's this whole pack from Sample Science that's like Boards of Canada, Tycho, that type of sound. You can pull it up. They have a sound demo on their website, Curtis.
I mean, Before we go into it, or maybe after, but 17 different vinyl sounds. This sounds a bit interesting. Where is it?
I mean, I just sampled my SP for those vinyl sounds, but it's there if you need it.
Here we go. SoundCloud, being ever the bastion of audio that it is. Here we go. Don't know about you guys. That was really loud in my ears. So yeah.
Sorry if everyone went deaf from that.
SoundCloud. Blame it on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sounding quite fun if you're a fan of that kind of thing.
To me personally, it sounds a little too clean for that type of sound. And I don't know how much of that is the demo itself versus how much is the sounds. Those drums at the end sounded really good. I mean, the whole thing sounds cool, and it's $10. I think if you have gotten something from them, they have like a 1-day 80% off code or something, so it's like only a couple bucks. But I know we've got a lot of Boards of Canada fans in the chat, and so I just wanted to throw it out there. If anybody's looking for sounds, it's there. It sounds cool.
Sample sites are cool for that kind of thing, and they frequently do they turn things really, really cheap, or they make things free for a little bit. I love them. We love them. They're all good. Eon Lake?
Yeah, I was expecting a little bit more wonkiness, to be honest, before I heard it. A couple of the lead lines and so on were definitely getting there with some degraded media sort of effects. But yeah, I wondered if it goes far enough myself.
It brings up an interesting point in the sense that okay, so it's both. Okay, so Sunwarper, you say it's clean, and Eon Lake, you said it's not wonky enough. I mean, Boards of Canada are particularly acquired taste for that kind of thing. Could it be a case of just they're trying to appeal to more of a wider market?
True, but even they mentioned Tycho, and even Tycho has a lot of that wow and flutter. Maybe not his old stuff has a lot of that more grit. The new stuff not so much, but there's still that LFO wobble.
That's still there, even though it sounds cleaner now, doesn't it?
Yeah, I wasn't hearing a lot of that warble, that pitch warble, and the LFO wobble on the pitch in those. And maybe that is just an effect you can change. I'm not sure, but I just wanted to bring it up because I mean I love things trying to sound like Boards of Canada and stuff, and I thought it was interesting that it's there and it's a pretty cheap price. So
yeah, very much so. It's in I've just popped it into the live chat for everyone though. It's there. Sample sites are great, and they got a lot of free stuff too. So yeah, we'd like to know what you think. I mean, we're all in some forms experimental electronica people, so it can work in some guys. I mean, $10 for 17 different vinyl players. I mean, I'm down.
Yeah, and it's got those voice samples and some other things. So there's a lot to it that I don't think that demo showcases, but is in the text as to what it features. So that's why I was saying I'm not sure how much is just the demo and how much is what's in there. So
we'd like to know what you think. And as we come towards the end of the news segment of the show, if you have got anything that we've missed over the past couple of weeks, or if you've got something that is newsworthy, let us know. Hit us up on Discord or on Instagram. We'd be curious to know what it is, because we look for this stuff because we want to bring it to you so that you guys are more aware of it. But if there's something that we've missed, please let us know.
Yeah. So how about round robin or
marketing first?
Marketing's first. That's right. Yeah.
But before that, we do have Hydro Fighter in the lobby. So maybe this is the part of the show around about halfway through. We're a little bit later today because it's just because we took a long time in the news. But about halfway through, we always send our patrons the link to this meet in which we're in, and we invite them to come on and chat with us and share their thoughts. And Hydrofight has been a staple of that, as per. He's one of our patrons. So yeah, another reason to become a patron, I suppose. Should we get him in before?
Yeah, real quick in the chat. This one cracked me up. Maureen's friend said, "I may try and sample 17 different vinyls I have at the start and put out a pack."
Nice. There you go. I would pay $20 for that.
There you go.
That's Maureen's friend for you. I want to get Hydrofighter in before I have to reject him because I don't like doing that.
The band hammer.
Before it times out.
We'll bring him in. And we'll chat and we'll go into marketing. Hello, Hydrofighter. How you doing, man?
Hey guys.
Back in the studio after a couple of weeks. How are you?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Levels are good. Cool. Yeah, I feel like I was thinking about this earlier because I'm on the show so much. I feel like I'm one of Howard Stern's guys that he has on frequently. That he's always got somebody that he's teasing. So, I mean, if you guys want to tease me, have at it.
That's a really generous offer. Thank you. Appreciate
it. We'll keep it in mind.
Keep it in your back pocket for now. What have you been doing, Hydrofighter?
I bricked my key step this week. It's locked.
Oh no!
So, and I think it has to do with the USB hubs because with the Macs I got the USB-C and I don't have all those cables, so I got to go get some cables to make it sync the way it's supposed to. I was trying to do an update, software update, and locked. But
wow,
fun troubleshooting. I mean, it's always fun troubleshooting gear.
Did
That's
you
why
get it
we get
back,
it, right?
Did you manage to fix it?
No, I didn't fix it yet. I'm pretty sure I know how to do it though. And it's with the cable. It's with the proper cables. Isn't that dumb?
Yeah. I mean, it's.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we have a lot of fun making the music, and we have a lot of fun making stuff happen. But then the hours that we spend trying to troubleshoot and fix shit, it makes it even better.
I got a bit tired of that a while ago, and now I'm very much. It's got to work. I want it to work.
If it doesn't work,
just turn the phantom power on. Yeah, that should be
good. Hey, that wasn't public. No, that works.
Well, I wish a happy ending with that. That's not good.
I'll get it to work. I'll get it to
brick
work.
Step.
Yep.
Look at that. So yeah, Sunwarper, what have you got for the marketing this week?
Yeah, so this is a quick one. I want to see if we can actually do it in a minute. I almost want to hit like a timer just to see.
Okay.
All right.
But we do have to share a video, so it may take longer. But
give me a sec, bro. Yeah, we'll get that.
What we're talking about is another layout change for Instagram.
No way.
Yeah. So Adam Mosseri, the Instagram head, who we always talk about, because he posts weekly about things that are happening on Instagram and what they're changing. He said in February, Instagram will change the navigation. They're going to update the navigation to a new simplified bottom of screen only layout, which is a lot better than the craziness they have right now. That's up and down. So the shop tab is being removed. I don't know. Do any of you guys use the shop tab to buy things on Instagram? I don't. They're going to remove that, but the shop will still be there. And then they're going to put the create, which is now I think on the top, back in the center. So just like TikTok, big surprise. And then the Reels tab will be next to it. So Reels and create front and center. So they're obviously showing what they want to push.
Yeah, make a reel.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to just play his video real quick?
I'll play his video. I've also realized he's got the same glasses as me. Does that mean that I'm the head of Instagram?
You could be.
Cool.
You should
play your cards right and you'll be there, bro.
I probably can screw it up enough. All right, here we go.
We're simplifying the nav. The new nav on Instagram we're announcing today is going to be home, search, create, reels, and then profile. So we're bringing create down to the bottom, front and center, and we're removing the shops tab. But you'll still be able to shop on feed, in stories, in reels, and in ads. And this will launch in February. Now the idea here is to simplify Instagram and focus it more on what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring people together over what they love. And as a reminder, to do that, we're focused on three things: on inspiring people to express themselves, on helping people discover what they love, and on sparking connections between people over what they find. And we hope this new, simpler version of Instagram focuses more on those three things. If you want to read more about this, you can always check out my link in bio. See you next week. Peace.
I wonder how much money he got for that 1 minute video.
He makes them every week.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he might as well just say we're becoming TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it seems. They keep changing things to try and compete with it. I will say, though, the simplified layout will be welcomed because I hate just how chaotic. Because the create used to be on the bottom, too, and they moved it up and all that. And I mean, I'm not on Instagram as much anymore and stuff, but it's still like, it's nice when it's just right there. That's what you want. Leave it there. So, yeah.
Maybe start off with your app in that state, you know.
Well, it used to be. They changed it.
I made it all complicated. Yeah.
It's like that plank you bought Twitter. The same amount of thought going into everything.
It's almost as if all these people with all that money have no sense.
Well, yeah, like it's fiery today.
Still and leave it the fuck alone.
Yeah, like you're feisty today, man. I dig it.
Catty. Yeah, very much so. Well, I mean, it works out in the same way that YouTube, they've got that big plus button now for shorts and for upload videos. So they're just all going the same way. It's kind of, we're getting closer to that one synchronicity.
The unified social media.
Yeah.
Yes.
Topgram.
They could just call it social media then.
Yeah.
It'll be tick to
You
2
log.
Ticks to
Hide your phone.
Get your national insurance card and your social media login together from the government.
It'll all be
I
right.
can't wait.
Okay, that'll be great. It's not going to be dystopian at all. Hydrofighter, does it make you want to come across to Instagram a bit more?
Not really. I mean, it doesn't really change my mind that much. I mean, I don't think it really seems that much. All these apps are fairly simple, the phone apps. I never do Instagram on my phone. I always do it on my computer. So I could care what they do on the phone, honestly.
Because you're still very much a Twitter man, aren't you?
Yeah, for the most part. And I'm not even on Twitter that much anymore. I'm just kind of disconnecting from social media a little bit.
That's not a bad thing.
Just moving across to our Discord instead.
I just watch you guys.
There you go.
That's what the Discord's for.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Simon Little in the chat says, "Hey guys, hi Simon. Thank you very much for joining."
Hey Simon, what's up?
It's nice to see you. Thank you very much indeed. Yeah, I mean that's a nice little thing. I mean it's another change. Hopefully it's streamlining and yeah.
Hopefully, really. I mean, I take the piss out of it, but hopefully it's a return to just, you know, doing what is needed rather than making wild and crazy changes, fucking with the algorithm, which, you know, upset a lot of people, basically.
Yeah, people are still complaining about it.
Yeah. Because, I mean, you know, that was an algorithm that took many years to sort of build up, and it's going to take...
Ruined in a day.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while to straighten out again as well, isn't it? So I think hopefully it means they've learned their lesson and it's all going to be a bit more sensible from now on. But then at the same time, it still seems to be aping TikTok. So
maybe they're trying a little of both, like return a little bit to their roots, but also try to take what works or something. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, I have seen a trend recently of like in terms of the content itself of a lot more kind of I don't want to say haphazard, but I can't think of a better phrase right now. The idea
organic.
Yeah, all right, that's much better.
With quotes around it.
Yeah, the idea of kind of more homegrown, kind of like it's not polished. Like Instagram these days is so polished, and especially all the influencer kind of like content creator stuff is also polished. But we're seeing a return back to that kind of a bit clunky, more, you know, people taking videos of their food which has got a smudge on the lens kind of thing, which is. It's a good.
Lo-fi food.
Yeah,
like
low bitrate food pictures and videos. They throw it in the Liven Lofi12, and you know there you go.
Exactly. There you go. That's what you need.
4-second video.
That's what you need. I might say I've been doing January for the past well in January and
Really?
I can't believe I struggled with that.
You mean in December, right?
Yeah. Last year, 2 years ago. But I've been making content on my DSLR, which is up there, and it's been doing all right in terms of I don't care if people like it, but like on the day yesterday, which I did, had to be a jam outside. I just basically put my phone outside in the back garden with me on the bench, and it's all cloudy and because my camera's terrible. And it's the most successful one yet. So it's interesting.
The social media gurus would say it's because you're being honest, organic, and real.
But they're wrong. It's because it's lo-fi.
Yeah, it's because it's lo-fi. Yeah,
Exactly. So yeah, maybe that's what we need to be telling our people. It's
Or
always
maybe
good.
lo-fi.
Very good. Very good. So yeah, there's your marketing. Any more on that, Sunwarper?
and that's it. Like I said, it's a quick one. I think we went on a lot longer than a minute
Yeah,
though,
we went-
but that wasn't my fault. I covered it quick. I'm not taking the blame for this one.
That was all us. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's all on
You
you
were
guys.
Just riffing on each other. It's cool. All right, we'll move across to the last segment of the show, which is the round robin. And in the name of retro, in the name of coming back, the ever old argument of door wars or DAW wars. I prefer door wars.
Can
personally.
we play like? No, we'd probably get copyright struck, but like a quick second of Star Wars or something.
Yeah.
The Dog Wars.
Right
Obviously,
in your head.
exactly. It's the beginning of the year. A lot of new people getting into the production game and wanting to kind of see where they're going. And there is ever that I've seen it so much on Twitter, the idea of what DAW should get. I was having a conversation with a few guys about kind of what DAW they should get on with when they're starting out. And I mean, let's face it, all DAWs are the same. They all have their own things and they all just work in slightly different ways, but ultimately provide us with the same stuff. So I want a very quick round robin this week. I just want to let the viewers and the listeners know about what 3 things that we like about the DAW which we use and why
3
we
things
think
each?
it is.
Oh,
3
I
things
read that as
What
one
about something
thing.
you don't like as well?
Okay. All right. How about 2 things you like and 1 thing you don't?
All right.
Yeah. So we have Sunwarper who uses Logic, right? We have Eon Lake which uses Ableton. Hydra Fighter who also uses Ableton. So we've got a bit of a balance in Ableton. Now I use Ableton as well, but for 6-7 years or so I used FL Studio. So I'm going to tell you about a few things that I like about FL Studio, and then just because FL is awesome as well. So yeah, we'll go with that. So, would anyone like to start?
Maybe
we
one of
ask
the
that?
Abletoners.
Oh, I'm the
Since they
Abletoners,
love
just think about it.
Ableton so much.
I don't
Hydra
know
Fighter.
if I can start. I don't know if I got 3 things that I really like, but the reason I started with Ableton is because it was so easy to work with controllers with Ableton. It's a lot of plug and play. It's easy to map things if it's not plug and play. I really became attached to the clip view of triggering clips, and I came from using Fruity Loops as a plugin inside of Cubase before that. And when I converted to Mac, they didn't have a version for Fruity Loops at that time. So the closest thing they had was something similar to was Ableton. So that's why I went there. I guess another thing I really like about Ableton is the Max for Live plugins, because there's so much free stuff out there. So I mean, you have to pay a little bit extra for the Max for Live plugin just to use it with inside of Ableton, but once you get that, then there's an abundant amount of free plugins that you can get. I think that's really my favorite stuff about Ableton. It's really user friendly, I think.
It is.
But
What about something you don't like then?
I don't know. I mean, some of the effects are kind of dry and boring. I don't really some of it seems excessive, and like when they do new versions, at least lately, I'm not seeing things that really blow my mind with the new version. That's any better than the previous version. I mean, I like a lot of the basic effects that they have in there, the reverbs, the delays, some compression, and really just the easy things to do.
Yeah, I think the stock stuff that everyone has is really good.
Yeah, when they
Yeah,
try to
that's
get fancy with their
interesting,
effects, I think they go overboard.
Maureen's friend in the comments says, or in the chat says, +1 to Hydro's controller use point. So you got a fellow in agreement with you.
Yeah, well, see, it was about the time you started talking, I realized it was a mistake to let him go first, because he's going to say everything I wanted to say.
I'll give you dibs next time to go first.
No.
Should we
Yeah.
combo break and go with a different DAW
Yeah.
first, or just get through Ableton?
Let's chop them up.
Oh, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, let's just get through Ableton. I'm sick of it already. It's so gray.
See, I wasn't going to say this, but now I will. Though. My favorite thing about Ableton is how much it pisses Sunwarper.
I'm not gonna let that one count. I appreciate it, but that's not... I use Ableton for live stuff when I need to, but I just don't like it.
Yeah. I mean, in all seriousness, I picked it up for the same reason that Hydrofighter did. I wanted to get away from the screen. You know, I know the screen is always in the middle, and my screen is in between my two speakers because I've got nowhere else to put it. I don't want it there. I want it out of the way. I don't want to be looking at it. And it made it very easy, you know, and it was an easy change, and I didn't look back, and now everything's a lot more hands-on. It started all the hardware thing as well for the same reason, but hands-on knob per function, that's really cool. I also like partly the Max for Live thing, but the way that they're introducing things that you get elsewhere. So the things that you have an LFO plugin now that you can just put on anything. So it's partly also what you were saying about how easy it is to map things, how easy it is to join things. And now if I have a soft synth or anything or an effect that I would like to modulate, I could just grab an LFO, throw it in, link it up, and there it is. So I like that modular, easy to change part of it. I like the fact that they're taking things that exist elsewhere that are reasons not to use it and bringing it in so that you've got less and less reasons not to use it, like CV recording and automation implementation, which is one of the recent changes that if you're not using CV, you think, where are the updates, man? But if you are, it's like, wow, what a change. You can start recording all that stuff and editing it and so on.
So
again,
what don't you like?
What don't I like? Price.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably one of the biggest differentiators between a lot of DAWs, because they are, like you say, they all perform a core set of functions that don't differ that much. But if you talk about things like Reaper, that are very reasonably priced, through Fruity Loops and Logic, which is very reasonably priced, up to like the full suite of Ableton is expensive. I mean, you get a ton of stuff to play with, and you can use it without sounding like everyone else who's using Ableton, but at the same time, it's a lot of money.
What is the price of Logic these days? A couple $100?
It is for maybe the standard or the light version. The full suite is still lots of money.
Logic Pro X at the moment is $199.
Logic is
That's
200.
pretty-
Yeah, it's always 200. It's never
That's
changed.
cheap. I mean, that's cheap compared to Ableton's
Yeah.
like $750.
Yeah.
Ableton,
Sorry, yeah.
Ableton 11 Suite right now.
Sergi.
It's 11,000 crowns. So about 300, 400 euro, basically.
That's a hell of a difference. I mean, I know which I'd rather have, but at the same time, I'm going to bitch about it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's another bonus. I don't know.
Before we switch to another DAW, let us know in the chat what you're using, if you want to share, and your 2 favorite things and 1 thing you don't like about it.
Yeah, let's hear you bitch a bit. Come on.
Yeah.
Can't carry all of that bitch, and he's got to have some help, you know? His shoulders are getting tired.
Do you want to tell us about Logic Sunwarper?
Yeah,
or should I talk
sure.
about FL?
I think we kind of covered some of the things that I especially like about it in comparison to when I use Ableton. So I really like the workflow, especially with the MIDI when I'm doing the soundtrack type stuff with a lot of MIDI things. It's very, you can get pretty granular with it. And I also really like how detailed you can get with the automation, because when I used Ableton, I couldn't find a way to get it more nuanced, and this was a couple years ago, so I may be wrong. I don't really care at this point, but let me know if there is a difference. But you couldn't do very minute automation changes.
There's a key you press.
That's it. Yeah. So I was just I had to, but when I was using it, I didn't really look because I was just doing live things. So I just had it was mapped to MIDI, so they're on my MIDI keyboard, so it didn't matter. But So I really like that. I also love the stock plugins. They're super powerful, and Alchemy Synth, which is incredible, and it's just part of Logic for $200. It's basically like a Diva, but like built into Logic. So those are the things I really like about it. And the price, just you can't beat that price for what you get. But what I don't like is on the version that I have, changing BPM with audio is a little convoluted. You have to like change it and then do quantizing and kind of change it. And now it's just a little convoluted. I think the newest update fixes that. I just haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah, just warping on Ableton is ridiculously easy.
Yeah, that was what I really liked, but I wasn't doing a lot of sampling at the time with Ableton. I was doing all like live performance type stuff. So yeah,
you find a little bit using a sampler and trimming and so on. It's like this is easier in Ableton.
Yeah, the videos I've watched of people doing samples on the sampler in Ableton, it's like, man, that's crazy. So yeah, it has its merits. I mean, I don't hate Ableton. It's just its workflow for me just doesn't like click. I'd have to spend a lot of time with it, and with Logic I can just do exactly what I want right away. So it's like I just stick with that.
Eon, you triggered my brain a little bit on the buttons, right? Because I struggled finding the scissors or a way to chop audio or MIDI, and you have to use a shortcut key to do it.
Yeah,
I think still, right?
Still,
I think still do. I mean, I always use it now because I've been using it for how many years, and even if they throw it in there, I'm not giving no if they did.
Yeah, with Logic, you could just like draw a bunch of things. It's kind of like Final Cut with the keyframes. You can just draw things and move them around, and you can get super detailed with it. Over in the chat, Shady Ridge says he uses Ableton only because Hydro puts a gun to my head. And then Monochrome Echo says he uses Ableton. Love the session view for getting things going. Love the Max for Live stuff too. And yes, it could do with being a bit cheaper. And he says also wish it was a bit less gray.
That's a common complaint as well. The gray thing.
I mean, you can change the
color. Yeah, you can change the color on it.
Yeah,
it's different.
Different shade of gray. Light gray, dark gray,
8-bit gray.
8-bit gray.
Yeah, you can get nice and lo-fi with it. 16-bit.
That's all you need. It's interesting because like you get so many templates for things like FL Studio. You can have any kind of combination of what you want. It's anything you want. You can download them. There's websites dedicated to it. But Ableton is always just a form of grey, unless I'm much mistaken on that front.
Yeah, I'd be curious if you can change the color.
You can do it.
You can?
I think you can.
Yeah. You got to go into your preferences.
Purples and things.
There's like 3 or 4 options I think you can do.
I haven't really used Reason much anymore, but you were able to change a lot of the colors and things on that. Reason's pretty cool. I just don't use it as much. Logic can do a lot of that stuff, and there's more. So
yeah,
that's fair.
What about you, Curtis?
Well, I also, just for full disclosure, I love Ableton. I do use it, but I did use FL Studios, and there are a few things in FL which I wish were in Ableton. First of all, the step sequencer in FL Studios. It's very easy to get going, and if you want to create a beat and you're not much of a finger drummer, or you're not much of a drummer, or you're not Eon Lake, then it's a very good way to make a beat. It's lovely and it's very intuitive. You know, you put everything down and you just kind of paint and go in.
I usually do on the push, but yeah, there isn't anything on screen as a step sequence.
There's no.
There's some Max for Live plugins for it.
There are, but that's the point. You have to pay. When I got, for example, I got the probability pack when I got the suite version, which I didn't get when I got the standard version. But I remember having a conversation with Eon Lake about a year and a half ago about upgrading to the suite because I wanted a step sequencer. Because coming from FL Studio, a step sequencer is everything to me. But then I got it. Then so that's a shame that something that's so integral to beat making is not in Ableton for the price. You know, which is a bit of a shame. So, but in FL Studio, you've got that straight away, which I thought was really, really nice, straight off the bat. And also the painting function, so you can make your MIDI patterns a bit like Session View in Ableton. You can make them, and then you can select your instrument and just paint across for like 2 minutes, that kind of thing. Just kind of create a structure with MIDI, which again, if you're a beat maker and you're quick and you're making like 6-7 beats a day, it's a really nice way of doing it. If you're looking at quantity, sometimes perhaps over quality, if you're making a kind of like an underscore or something, that's a really nice way of doing it.
Yeah. What about what you dislike?
Automation
Oh.
sucks. So
Really?
yeah, in Ableton, for example, if you want to bring automation and you hit A, and it kind of comes over the top, and then you just draw the lines in, and it's just over the top of your existing project file. It's lovely. But if you're in FL, you have to create a whole new channel, a whole new line with a new box, and then you have to draw it over the top, and you have to kind of like gauge it, and it's not very intuitive. It annoys me to the end, and I still
That's
have nightmares
crazy.
about it. I still have nightmares about it. So
That's
yeah,
surprising.
Wake up, automation! No!
exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's not automation is not good in FL Studio, and I'll take that to the grave.
So nobody really doing what we do. Nobody's really big into Pro Tools. I mean, that's more for big production
I used it
stuff.
when I first started. I used Pro Tools, and this was when I was doing like metal and post rock, and I'm not the biggest fan. But I think it's good for what it does. But when it's the stuff we do, maybe they have the things now. This was
What's
10
the
years
MIDI
ago.
implementation on Pro
That's what I was
Tools?
gonna say. I don't know what
An
any of
audio
that stuff's like.
editor recorder,
Yeah.
first and foremost, and it beat things like Soundscape back in the day to become the standard. Although I always preferred Soundscape, to be fair. I just wonder how well they've done with the MIDI, and so I think it looks
We'll
horrible.
have to take a look. Now I want to see whether they have all this like MIDI implementation in Pro Tools. I mean, you would think
I
they
don't
would.
see how they could not really.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They kind of have to, but I know Pro Tools is like seems now to be all about the mixing and like recording live bands and stuff. That's like whenever I see someone using it, it's like a mixer or a mastering engineer.
You're
not
right.
like an electronic producer.
And it's
So-
something to do with the bus they're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. It's always the buses. Yeah. Really quick in the chat, Maureen's friend said something, and I kind of wanted to echo this sentiment to a degree. You'll see he says he uses Ableton basically because I know how to do stuff I want to do, mostly in the sampling and resampling arena. I'm sure others would work too, would just need to relearn. That's exactly what I was going to say, is that I don't think there is a best DAW, and like there is no this DAW. It's just what clicks with you. Like Ableton for me just has never clicked, but Logic does. So I use that. It does what I need. I know how to do it, and I can do it quickly. It's streamlined. So
Well,
whatever works best for you. But I've used a lot of DAWs, and it's good to try them all, because to find the one that really clicks with your workflow is the best. And
On
I'm
that
a lot of
note,
DAW-less stuff now too.
With Ableton though, they also have a very nice help function that you can
Yeah.
expand, right? And whatever you mouse over, it tells
That's
you what
true.
it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
That's
I always use the help thing in Logic too. You can just search like words and stuff, and it's pretty easy.
But there's got this little window in the bottom. Whatever your cursor is on, there's text
Yeah.
in the window.
Yeah,
to say
and I
what
still
the
use I still
that,
use it,
yeah.
and I've been using it for 15 to 20 years,
Yeah.
right?
But you're right. I mean, once you've become really proficient with one, who wants to take a massive productivity hit?
Yeah,
Same
it's a
thing,
big change sometimes.
something else.
Has anyone ever used Performer?
I don't even know what that is.
So it's a DAW specifically for making underscore for stuff. So you import your video file and you create the music underneath it in a score. You can either use it through like notation or through a piano roll, or audio, God forbid. And you can, but yeah, it does it. You can like kind of do it to the end.
You can edit with video in Logic.
Ah,
I do that, and
okay.
then you can also, if you have MIDI, you can click to see the notation. It'll make the musical notation for it.
Interesting.
So yeah, whenever I need to do like synced, I usually sync after, but if I'm syncing to something, I can just throw the video in there.
I'll think about that when I start writing music for adult films.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, gotta get my wah pedal first.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'd like to know what you guys watching back, either in Eclipse or in the chat think. We've had a lot of you give your insight in the chat over the time, and it's been nice to see what you guys are using. Seems like Ableton is a thing, but those watching back, maybe the balance will strike again. So yeah, let us know what you're using, why you like it, what you don't like about it. And the whole idea, like I say, is to kind of foster this idea that there is no best DAW. There's no best for it, but they all have little je ne sais quoi, as they say, that make you kind of stick to what you know. So let us know, and yeah, let everyone else know.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it. Anybody have any final things they want to say? DAW or otherwise?
No, just that Ableton's better than Logic, really.
You can say that. It's all subjective. I don't really care.
It is all subjective. Yeah.
You should get him Ableton next year for Christmas. mean, it's
I
only
won't use it.
$750,
Don't get it.
right?
Don't waste your money. Buy me something else.
So I did recently. I did record something in Ableton. I was going to do some basic mastering in Logic, and then I just got fed up with it and put it back in Ableton and mastered it in Ableton. I couldn't remember everything that I knew about Logic. Some of it had gone.
It became
And so
illogical.
that just goes back to the familiarity
Yeah,
thing, right?
see, I like the mixing
You know what you
workflow of
want to
seeing
do.
all the plugins at the same time on every track, like lined up, and being able to click them open
Yeah.
and all that.
Yeah,
It
I
comes
get
in
that.
handy.
The thing is, I wanted to fade some audio, so I could just drag the box. Nope, there's a fade. There we go.
Yeah,
Things
whatever works.
I'll just tweak that bend there. There we go. It's just like, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to do it quickly. There you go.
That's it. That's the key.
You use the tool that you
Use
know.
the
don't
one you know best. You know
Exactly.
best and that you enjoy using. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should
Yeah.
add, I forgot to mention that the podcast is lovingly rendered by Curtis and edited on my end on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So if you want to check out our podcast and you can help us out by giving a review or leaving a rating, you can find them in the description.
Very much so. We are a small network and we are growing, so any support that you can give us is very much appreciated. We will be back next week, and if you can't get enough of us, there's plenty to be getting on with, and also our growing Discord where the community is there every day chatting about shenanigans.
Yeah, if you need a place
music
to
and
talk
otherwise.
synth gear and nerdy stuff like that, I don't want to say nerdy. I guess it is nerdy, but
Lovely. Lovely
it's a community of like-minded synth nerds. So hop on over. It's in the description if you want to check it out.
Come give us a shout. Yeah, it'd be nice to see you there. So yeah, until next time, we'll see you next week. Much love. See you next time. Bye bye.
Thanks for watching.